In today's video, I am going to be breaking down simple 5-out basketball plays that can work with any age of basketball team. Really quickly, make sure to go check out the complete guide to the 5-out offense down in the description below. Basically, it breaks down the offense plus gives you some plays. So let's get down, let's check out these plays, and make sure to go check out the complete guide to the 5-out offense down below. Okay, so this first play I call pin down because all it is pin down screens, and it really puts emphasis on these corner players to know how to use a screen. So for example, in this play we're going to have player 3 and player 2 setting pin down screens onto those two players. After that screen, what we are going to see is player 5 and 4 reading their defenders and understanding what their defenders are doing and what they can do to exploit their mistakes. So for example, if player 4's man goes underneath his screen, player 4 wants to pop for a 3. While if player 5 goes over top of this screen, player 5 then needs to be able to read that and cut in quickly to keep that defender behind him. Player 1, as the point guard, needs to be able to see this happening and to try and be able to tell which player is the best player to pass to in this situation. So if he was to pass to player 4, player 4 should be wide open for a 3. And if he passes to player 5 needs to be able to finish at the rim, and he needs to, of course, lead the pass. You do not want to be passing behind that player. If neither of those options are open, then at this time, we would then have player 3. He'd be most likely just popping out, but he'd be filling the top because player 5's down here to fill. And now we are still in our 5-out offense. Player 1 can also call for a screen and roll, and this is another simple play that you can run. Now, when it comes to this play, I personally don't run it this way. I like the idea of setting that screen and hitting player 4 for the roll, but there's a different way I like to run this. And how I like to run this myself, and I run this way with the high school team that I coach, is if we're calling for a screen on this side. So for example, let's say my point guard is calling for a screen on this side. That actually is telling the player who's over there on that side to not set a screen on this side, but to screen on the opposite side. So for example, if he's calling for a screen from the right side, player 4 will then loop around and screen on the other side. At the same exact time, we're going to have player 3 setting a pin down screen for player 5. There's a reason, because now with player 5 popping, player 1 using that screen, and player 4 rolling towards the basket, this now gives player 1 multiple different options. He can pass to player 4, he can take the shot himself, or he can pass to player 5 for a 3-point shot. And that gives us multiple options. I always like to give my point guard as many options as possible to pass to. He just needs to be able to dribble with his head up to be able to see those players who are potentially open for layups or 3-point shots. Now, we've all had those times where there's just no movement on the court, and you have this 5-out offense, or you have this 4-out offense, 3-out, whatever it may be, and you just don't have movement. You got players standing around not doing anything. They're not screening for anybody. This next play is what I call crazy, and I haven't really ran it too often with many teams, but it is kind of useful. So if player 1 calls crazy or star or whatever it may be, we're going to have player 2 and player 3 go towards the corners, and we're going to have players 4 and 5 popping towards the wings. What this is basically doing is getting movement on the court so that we can hopefully get somebody open, whether it be a skip pass over to the corner or maybe a pass to the wing. Of course, those defenders would be following their man and potentially will get some open players for you to pass to, and then go to our last play sets, which is the pass and screen away and for, and pass and cut. Pass and cut is very simple. You pass, you cut, they fill, he fills out. It's very simple. It's one big cycle, and this is why it's so simple. Pass and screen for, again, very simple. Pass and screen for the player you pass to. You use that screen, he rolls towards the basket, and of course if he's open, hit him up for that layup. If not, player 3 fills, player 1 fills, and player 5 fills out. And then there's pass and screen away, which let's say we pass to that corner player, we screen away, player 3 uses that screen, player 4 then rolls towards the basket, and again gives player 2 multiple different options to pass to. And those options are very simple and easy. Now, there is a big guide to be able to run these plays, especially that last one. It's not just as simple as just passing and cutting. You also need to be able to know what to do next. If the ball's in the corner, where do you cut? So for example, if player 2 passed to player 3, player 2 has that option to either screen for that player or cut to that rim or screen away. This is basically one big circle, so whether or not he's cutting, looking for that pass, which he should be no matter what, or screening away, the screen away and the cut, if you're in the corner, is the exact same thing. You're screening away, and then player 5 could be potentially open in that low post or for the 3-point shot. And you'll be able to get more of this, of course, in the complete guide to the 5-out offense, but this is a very super simple set to be able to run, whether it's this one or the earlier ones I was showing as well. The ones with the pin down screens I like to call help, and that is essentially the same idea as that crazy play or that star play where it just tries to get somebody open. I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.